Hey guys, it's Di from BeingMommywithStyle, and I thought I would do a little lunchtime chat. I haven't done these too often, but since it was lunchtime and I was thinking about lunch, it kind of ties in with the topic of the video, so I thought I would go ahead and do a quick video. I'm working full-time now, and I, take a lunch in the middle of the day. I typically have gotten in a bad habit, and I just started this at my other job, of just going out and getting lunch. Mainly because I needed to get away from the office, and my other job was so frantic that I had to get in the habit of, I was never able to take a full lunch hour, so I would go through drive-through real quick and try to scarf down my food. It sounds really bad, but scarf down my food to get back to the office and never take a full lunch. And I didn't realize how ingrained I had that in me until I started my new job. And it's a lot more flexible. They're more focused on the work that you get done rather than the time you do it in, if that makes sense. And so they're like, take a full lunch hour, take an hour and a half if you want. So I've almost had to retrain myself in the sense of, you don't have to go flying through drive-through, and you can have a sit-down lunch if you want to. And I also would like to try to get better at bringing in my lunch, which kind of rolls into what I'm going to talk about in this video, but I wanted to give you a bit of background. So I've started this very bad habit that started at my last job and then carried over into this one, and I wasn't really as aware of it until I started this new job, that I started this really bad habit of frantically eating lunch, usually on the go, and trying to scarf it down as quick as possible, and it's usually something horrible, fast food or whatever. So recently, that's kind of a bit of background, and recently, for dinners, my husband and I, after the summer, we both were kind of sick of everything that we were eating. And we were just kind of sick of the same old thing. In the summer we eat a lot of stuff on the grill, pork chops, steak, bratwurst. I make tacos a lot, spaghetti, but it was really just kind of getting old, and neither one of us are cooks. If it's grilling, he typically does it. If it's food inside the house, I typically make it. I don't really enjoy cooking, which you guys all know that, and he doesn't really, he's not a cook. He doesn't really contribute to cooking unless it's like putting a pizza in the oven or grilling. That's pretty much what he does. So that's pretty much where we're at as far as cooking, but we're both really getting sick of everything that we've been eating. And so it's kind of an interesting timing. Again, this is more background, but it's kind of interesting timing that we kind of at that point where we're like, ugh, we are sick of just like pork chops and a veggie, or steak and a veggie, and spaghetti even with meat sauce. Like, we're just sick of it. We're so tired of eating the same things over and over. And so at that same time, just coincidentally, he had happened to stumble upon a documentary on Netflix. And I'm not sure if they talk about different subjects in all of them, because he's the one that found it, and then he showed it to me. But it was called Game Changers. And so we found this documentary, and I'm sitting in a parking lot, by the way. It's probably like a really weird background, but we're rolling with it. Anyways, we found this documentary. He found it, and then he watched it, and then he liked it so much he showed it to me. And it was about the effects of eating animal products, and it just explained in detail like why our bodies really aren't set up for it, and why we should be eating more plant-based. And obviously I already knew that we weren't eating the best that we could, but this even took a step past that, like even beyond like eating organic or grass-fed or whatever. It actually made the case for not eating animal products to varying degrees. I mean, obviously some people don't at all, some people just lessen it. We're looking at lessening it, which brings me to the point of this video. So trying to eat more plant-based, less animal products, etc. So two things really stood out to me from this documentary, and I'll try to share the name down below if you want to look it up. And I'm very like open-minded, and I'm hearing sides type of person, but unless something resonates with me, or the timing is right, it's kind of hard for me to change habits, because I'm a creature of habit. But it was coincidentally as interesting timing that this documentary, we found this at the same time we were both really sick of everything we were eating for dinner, especially the meat portion. And so two things stood out in this documentary as far as the case for reducing the amount of animal products, especially in meat, and eating more plant-based protein is basically what this whole documentary was about. And the two things were the effects of that having all this livestock does on the planet is actually more than the effects of the emission of cars and planes and trains and all of the transportation. The effects of having all this livestock is actually worse on the planet than all these other things that humans are doing that actually, to me, intuitively, that would be the first thing I'd say, like, oh, humans are ruining the planet, we're putting plastic in oceans, we're driving all these vehicles around, looking at changing that, when actually they, you know, broke down all the numbers in this documentary. When you think about it, it makes sense. Having to clear all the land to raise all these animals that people are going to be eating eventually. Clearing all the land to raise them, and then all the land that they have to grow the food to feed the animals. And that is the part where my brain had never taken it out to that step, and I went, oh, wow, yeah, that does make sense. So that point really stood out to me. And then the other one was because I have a marketing and advertising background. They made the comparison between the tobacco industry and the lines that they used, and then compared it to the meat industry and their advertising. And once they showed that, I mean, I could clearly see the, you know, the correlation from a marketing standpoint. And I went, ooh, wow, yeah, that is a marketing tactic. So this is something that we've decided to look into, and we're not going to 100% become vegetarian or vegan or pescatarian or anything. We're not going to become 100% anything, because that's not us, that's not our personalities. But my husband and I are on a journey to start eating more plant-based. And so I don't know what more plant-based is going to look like, but I do know it's going to be reduction of meat, just intaking animal products. He's already started cutting out things like he eats yogurt every day. Well, that's animal-based. Dairy. So we're trying to cut down on dairy, or cut out dairy as much as possible. For him, he started getting soy yogurt, so he's trying that. For us, milk is very easy because a number of people in our family are lactose intolerant, so we already have almond milk in the house, so we'll just go to that exclusively. Limiting meat. It's not to say like that this week I don't have meat on my meal planning for dinner, because I do. But we actually this week started getting some Morning Star items, which are like veggie burgers and meat substitution items that are not, they're veggie based, they're not meat based. So we're trying those this week to see how that goes. So we're gonna see if we can make some small changes. Obviously it's health impact too. It's supposed to help your health. He's recently been trying to watch his cholesterol, so this should help him with that. And obviously I think anything I could do is literally better at this point than the habits that I've gotten into since I've gone back to work. And so then to extrapolate that, to get back around to the point that I started this whole thing with the bad habits that I've started personally for me at lunchtime, eventually I would like to see some meal planning for lunches too. So we'll take you along. This will be a long-term thing. It's a marathon, not a sprint, but it is something we've been talking about. And if you guys remember, like a number of years ago, I was wanting to try to be more vegan, use less animal products, etc. And I just really could never really find a way to make it work. It's really tough, like when you're the one person in your household doing it and you're kind of trying to cater to a bunch of different things. I think that this time, because he's the one that's like starting it, you know, so I would more like make dinner that he wants to eat. And whether that's right or wrong, that's just the way it is in our house. So I think that because it is starting with him, and we had both hit this point where we're really sick of all of these things that happen to be meat-based that we were eating for dinner, I feel like it's got more sticking power this time, because we had both hit this point of like, oh God, if I have to eat another pork chop, I don't know what I'm going to do. You know? But also because he's gung-ho about it and he's changing his habits, it makes it easier for me to just focus on the habits that I need to change for myself and then go from there. So it's definitely going to be a longer process. We're definitely not becoming like 100% anything, definitely not overnight, and I don't even think that's the goal. I think the goal for us is to lessen the amount of animal products and then see if it has a positive impact on us. So animal products that we're intaking. Because obviously I have a leather handbag sitting next to me, and I'm sitting on a leather seat, so I'm not going to be I'm not going to be hypocritical here, but animal products that we're intaking, we want to see if we can lessen it and see, you know, if some of the effects that they showed in this documentary, that people had positive effects from it, if we can see some of that in our own lives. So I'll share the link to it down below. It was very, very interesting. He found it and then shared it with me, and it just was very timely for us. So it should be an interesting journey. I'll share some of our new meal grocery hauls and like meal planning as we go along. And other interesting thing is we just literally had someone ask, and I didn't mention it in the comments because I wanted to wait till I did videos on it. I literally just had someone ask if I could show plant-based options when we go to Disney World. So I will definitely be showing that, because we'll try to limit our meat intake. So the whole thing for us is limiting meat intake and maybe cutting out some of the things that are easier. Like dairy for us is going to be a little bit easier to cut out, with the asterisk of cheese. We are a cheese household. Natalie loves cheese. Cheese is going to be difficult. I don't know what we're going to do about that yet. But dairy in like a liquid form, like, you know, drinks or whatever, should be easier to cut out, because we already use almond milk and that sort of thing. My creamer is going to be the other. So there's a couple strongholds that are dairy based that we'll have to hurdle that when we can. But we're just going to start systematically reducing, systematically eliminating, systematically replacing, and then just kind of see where we end up. So I'll kind of keep you apprised as we go along. I wanted to mention it. Feel free to mention down in the comments if you have done this with your family and what you found easiest or hardest to eliminate. If you found any really great recipes, feel free to share those as well. And it definitely is going to be one of those things we're going to try to focus as a family to change dinner, and then kind of work on some of our own individual habits from there. So for me, I know I need to be healthier at lunch. At my last job, and this was like a company-wide thing, like everyone that started work there, I think it was stress combined with bad eating habits, everyone that worked there would gain 20 to 30 pounds within their first year working there, and I was not excluded from that. So now that I feel like I have a healthier lifestyle at work, and, you know, I feel like I'm in a mental space where I can adopt like a healthier lifestyle with things like this and kind of take that on as well. So I'll keep you posted. We're excited about it. I think that if nothing else, it should be a really good experiment. And I think that eliminating anything like that, you know, if we can get our protein from plant-based options, why not try it? So let me know down in the comments if you've tried this, what your results were, and I will bring you other videos coming up very soon, grocery hauls and meal planning and different things like that, to kind of share our journey as we go along. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.